It's Sunday, October 18th. The year is 2020. You're now 15 days on from the election. And the October surprise is the most devastating October surprise ever. A communist Chinese blackmail ring running the Democratic Party with the most horrendous pedophilia and torture information imaginable, all beginning to break live now.
Lock up the Bidens. Lock up Hillary. Lock them up. Can you imagine if my kids did what this guy Hunter is doing? Ivanka. Oh, my beautiful, my wonderful Ivanka. She's a good kid. Can you imagine?
If Biden wins, China will own the United States. And I turned it all around, and you know that better than anybody. In 2019, if you go back 10 years, everybody projected 2019, the economy of China was going to be bigger than the U.S., except it didn't happen because I got elected, and I turned it the opposite way. We were picking up much more than them. And then I did the no dumping steel, and I did tariffs, and I did everything on them. No, they want Sleepy Joe to win. And if he does, if Sleepy Joe wins, China will own the United States.
And when you look at these photographs that are disgusting and horrible, the Chinese have every single one of them. The Chinese have every single one of them, probably 10 times more. Because what the Chinese government has been doing, and a country was totally undefended against this, is setting Biden up, putting him in a position where he's totally compromised. They've now given him so much money, he's totally compromised. They now have pictures of his son doing things that I can't describe.
Doing things that are illegal, he goes on to say. It's game time. The battle for Western civilization and the whole planet. October 18th, 2020, on this live Sunday transmission. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm already freaked out by how evil the globalists are, and I live with this every day, knowing what a bunch of satanic pedophiles they are. So I'm happy right now that this stuff's coming out. It also makes me sick. I sit there and look at the evidence hour after hour today. I've probably worked 20 hours the last 2 days just researching all this, just to try to prove myself wrong. And then this morning, I remembered Ted Gunderson, who never made a big deal about the fact that they actually tried to make him the FBI director, but he wasn't corrupt, so they wouldn't do it. And he ran the Southern California area and learned about all the devil worship. So when he retired, he went up against it full time. So I was reading the FBI website this morning. I just thought I'd Google his name. And I was reading the things he said, quotes in the 80s about there's a shadow government using pedophilia to control and blackmail the population. And it's setting up networks internationally to bring down the United States. And I mean, I'm reading this from the FBI's own website, and it all was true. And I used to sit there. I probably had dinner with this guy 10 times. Paid for his hotel rooms a couple times when he came and gave speeches. And he's like, oh, I'm a retired FBI agent. Oh, yeah, I used to be a kind of a big deal. And then later, once I knew him for about 10 years, I was like, wait a minute. This is like one of the most famous FBI agents ever. And he later admitted to some of the stuff he did. That's why he went right to the top. He believed he was fighting communists, so he did a lot of, let's not say very friendly things to people. COINTELPRO, he ran COINTELPRO. So, I mean, the point is that I was going to come on the air and kind of just read quotes from him and then say, who is this? Who is this? For like 30 minutes and tell you who it was. But I got so much big breaking news. We'll cover it all when we come back. Biden has gone into hiding for the next 5 days, and his lawyer has confirmed the laptop is real. So the whole house of cards of the pedo devil worshiper kingdom is coming down. And of course, the enemy is going to launch a counterattack. So watch your six. We'll be back. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Alex Jones. Thank you so much for joining us on this live, teleprompter-free Sunday edition. I'll be here for the next 2 hours. I'm going to co-host with the great Owen Schroyer. the new Sunday Live 2-hour show. We intend to keep it right through the election, probably forever. And it only has 6 minutes of breaks an hour. So all the station breaks are there, but there's no network breaks for us. We've gone commercial free when it comes to network breaks. Local stations get theirs the bottom and top of the hour, but I'll be co-hosting with him. Okay. We always cover epic information. And our North Star is the truth and history and God's guidance. But what's broken in the last week is so huge. And I'll admit, I was so close to the problem, I totally missed the boat this week until a bunch of people contacted me and sources, and I did research on this Hunter Biden thing, because I was obsessed with what came out. You know, at first was, oh, here they are with the emails with Burisma saying, we're going to pay you in these criminal investigations, tell your dad to do it. I mean, that was open and shut. And I was like, oh, so what if he's got a crack pipe and hookers? The media is diverting off onto that. I wasn't defending crack pipes and hookers or meth pipes and hookers, but that was what the media chose to focus on. I kind of took the bait. And then I began to go back and do research. I'm like, wait a minute, there was a major Chinese dissident group from inside the Communist Party back in September, 3 weeks ago, that said that this laptop's there, it's coming out, Giuliani's got it. Turns out the dissident that put this out is working with Giuliani. We confirmed all that. And it's not just taking Chinese communist money. It's not just doing all of that or the Burisma Ukrainian money that's all illegal. It is actual videos, reportedly, of Hunter Biden having sex with very young Chinese girls and reportedly beating the living hell out of them. Torture was what the Chinese translation is. And then we've got the FBI confirming they had it 7 months ago, that it was under pedophile investigation. The New York Post has the images and videos and says they will not publish it because it is pedophilia. I've got all the articles, all the statements right here. So I'm like, oh my gosh, look at this. It shows Burisma. It shows money from Ukraine and China. We got them. But the media chose, that's what was that massive Twitter, Facebook, Google, Apple censorship. They only let out photos of the crack pipe and the meth pipe and stuff like that, and made it about hookers to divert off of everything, which we already knew was going on. But I'm so close to the problem, I was just blown away by what they admitted was going on and the whole Burisma situation. Because that's open and shut. Now, here's the big news. Biden's lawyer, they've released emails where Biden's lawyer a year ago was talking to the Mac shop in Delaware. Anybody that's ever turned in a computer to have it worked on, you sign a contract that says if you derelict this, if you leave this, if you don't pay, after 90 days, it's what most places say, some say 6 months, they can repossess the computer for the charges, wipe it, and sell it. Turns out they've released the contract. Turns out the lawyer contacted him after they'd already contacted Biden. He hadn't responded for months and said, give me that hard drive, give me that laptop. So that's all confirmed now as well. And again, it's a giant blackmail ring run by Communist China, working with the deep state here in the United States with whatever you want: money, hookers, underage girls, cocaine, you name it. And Hunter Biden's on record leaving cars, random places in the middle of the road, leaving his bags at the airport, being bombed out of his brain. Giuliani's looked at the tens of thousands of files. He says every other day Biden is photographing himself smoking crack, methamphetamine, vomiting everywhere. I mean, that's who these people are. We've allowed them to act like this and do this. They never got in trouble, so they think they're above the law. It's like Biden went on CFR television on C-SPAN, had a CFR event and said, yeah, told them if you don't stop the investigation into my son, I'll keep $1 billion back from you, and son of a bitch, they did. So this is all going down, folks, but I was already talking to people in New York and D.C., very close to the president, very close to Giuliani, saying, listen, well, OAN's on record seeing the videos, saying it's underage girls and brutal stuff going on with them. And then Giuliani told several interviews, Daily Caller and others, that indeed this stuff's illegal. These clearly are underage girls, and this is brutal. And he said, I'm not going to repeat what's on it. It's too horrible to say on air. I talked to sources, just like General Flynn's lawyer, very respected, talked to NYPD police that saw the hard drive of Weiner and Hillary's hard drive. And they said that literally they'd have to go in chefs looking at it, where you can only look at like a couple videos, and then grown men that had been on homicide squads had to literally go cry their eyes out and throw up. Okay? I mean, it's like, folks, it's stuff so horrible. But see, this is the club these people are in. It's like you never see the MS-13 videos they've got where they're chopping up 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old girls in rituals as a gang initiation. All that stuff gets hidden from the public because it's so brutal, and I understand why, but at a certain point, it just needs to all come out so that we understand exactly what we're dealing with, and then understand why Hollywood is into movies like Saw, and why Hollywood is into all the pedophilia, all the rest of it, because these are very, very sick, depraved people. And they've got FBI agents going public saying 7 months ago, Ray blocked the release of this info. You've got cops going public that have seen it saying it's the most horrible thing you've ever seen. That's Weiner. That's Hillary. And reportedly, Hunter Biden's laptop is even worse. And again, this is a guy that puts out on Twitter photos of himself with no teeth. He has dentures because of his meth mouth. And even his dentures are stained brown because he smokes so much meth and so much crack. And this is the bag man between communist China and Ukraine, the Russian mayor that gave him 11 payments. I mean, imagine putting emails out saying, I want 30 million and I want half the money, which is billions. And they just do it. And you're like, well, that's crazy. Well, why did his dad go on TV? I'm not going to play it again. I played it probably 40 times. Where he goes on C-SPAN and says, oh, you're investigating me for corruption? Well, son of a bitch, you're not getting $1 million. And they said, well, you can't do that. You're not the president. Well, call him then. And I said, I'm flying out of here in 6 hours. And then sure enough, they fired it. That's what these criminals are doing because we've put up with them so long. So you're like, man, Hunter really screwed up. He left a laptop at a Mac shop a year and a half ago. Why would he do that? And then they go to wipe it and look what's on. They're like, what the hell is this? So they go to the FBI. And they go to others. And no one helps them. So they finally go to the New York Underground. And folks inside the FBI that are not child molesters. But then as all this info came out, I learned 2 days ago that no one had the will to put this out. So I was sitting in my office yesterday at like 11 a.m. saying, well, no one will actually break this. I'm going to do it. All of a sudden, Mike Adams calls up, literally goes, hey, you know, my wife speaks Chinese. She's Taiwanese. On the full video of this, they talk about actual sex torture of children, not just pedophilia. And I already had sources telling me that. So I said, well, that's just the green light. I got to put this out. And so we did. 15 days until the election. Deep state, communist, Chinese-backed Democrats with big tech and the media, the Hollywood America haters say they're going to contest. They know they're going to lose. They're going to try to trigger a civil war. But they have fought to shut us down. They have fought to silence us together, but they have failed because we have hung together, as Benjamin Franklin said, and our necks are not as skinny and weak as they thought. They are strong. We are live broadcasting worldwide, and I want to thank you all for being here tonight. Remember, when you get excited, you share the articles, you share the links, they get millions of views. The videos I put out since yesterday, all total, have 2 million views at band.video on this key subject we're about to cover. That in defiance of big tech's attempt to silence the people, Bill Gates and the New World Order, Sundar Pichai, all of them have failed. All right, I want to play these clips right now, but let me just show you these headlines. If you just tuned in again, I'm Alex Jones, your host. Very honored to be here. You have Hunter Biden, this total drug addict criminal, kicked out of the Navy for being a cocaine head, on the payroll of Ukraine, on the payroll of Communist China. His laptop comes out. The Biden campaign just today had to confirm, okay, yes, it's our laptop. Biden had all these events scheduled. He's gone into hiding. He says until the debate Thursday night, and some say he may cancel this in-person debate. So when you talk about wheels coming off, folks, there's no way for them to spin this. Look at these headlines. Breaking, email from Hunter Biden's lawyer to computer shop owner revealed, confirms laptop was Biden's. Breaking, email sent to computer shop confirms it. Wow, crooked Joe Biden to go into hiding starting today until debate Thursday night. Here's all the actual emails. They are so scared. Here's the articles for TV viewers that are at Infowars.com. Chi-Com dissident predicts Hunter Biden laptop leak in September. And he's been meeting with Giuliani. And it all came out as they predicted 3 weeks ago. And what do they say is actually on these videos? Not just raping children, which is torture, but physically beating the living hell out of them, which is another form of torture. Of course, Joe Biden supports cutting the testicles off of 8-year-old children. That's total mutilation. I mean, that's beyond rape. That's actual mutilation. That's what the Nazis did to people. But, oh, if it's liberal and trendy, it's cool. Meanwhile, bombshell, New York Post refuses to publish 25,000 Hunter pics after reports they include underage obsessions. It's way worse than that. It's reportedly rape and torture. And here is Senator Ron Johnson saying, yes, he thinks it will possibly be revealed pedophilia coming out soon, but the media is already not willing to publish it because it's so horrible. We'll pixelate it and put it out. Justice be done, may the heavens fall. Here's what the senator just said.
Was the FBI agent who served the subpoena investigating child pornography, Senator?
Well, you just read the news report. I can't comment any further. I don't want to speculate other than to say that what I said publicly before, our report uncovered so many troubling connections, so many things that need to be investigated that I really think we're just scratching the surface. And yes, I've heard all kinds of things that I think will probably be revealed over the next few days. There's a treasure trove of emails and video and pictures in not only the purported computer of Hunter Biden, but now we've got the co-conspirator, Bevan Cooney, that also starting to reveal information. I guess we're probably going to just find more information every day over the next couple of weeks.
And again, Biden went on TV and said, I was going to not give him $1 billion if they didn't fire the prosecutor investigating me. And son of a bitch, they fired him. I mean, they just hide this in plain view to make it look like they're invincible. Things like turning in laptops with the child rape on it. They don't care, folks. They want everybody to know they've been doing it. Because then everybody's scared. Like the FBI's like, we can't release this. We'll bring down the whole system. The system's already being brought down. Big tech's already bigger than the government. Our country's almost done. Just attack on every front. So what? Bring these people down. They want to fight. They got one. Now, here's Giuliani. It's a 27-minute interview. The Daily Caller, who I'm fans of, just absolutely is scared. So they're attacking Giuliani for 27 minutes when he's got all the facts laying it out. But here's 2 minutes towards the end where he really broke it down.
The Chinese government was not hiring Hunter Biden. The Chinese are not stupid. They're not going to pay $10 million a year and 50% of the profits to Hunter Biden. They're going to pay it to who they think is the next president of the United States so they can jam him up. And when you look at these photographs that are disgusting and horrible, the Chinese have every single one of them. The Chinese have every single one of them, probably 10 times more. Because what the Chinese government has been doing, and a country was totally undefended against this, is setting Biden up, putting him in a position where he's totally compromised. They've now given him so much money, he's totally compromised. They now have pictures of his son doing things that I can't describe, some of which are illegal.
Why not? This is the internet. You can describe anything.
Yeah, you'll get to see it. I don't have to describe.
I want to see it, man. I'm trying to get something out here.
Well, you'll get to see it.
All right.
But the reality
I'm gonna hold
is,
you to that.
the reality is that very, very simple analysis of all this, if you understand intelligence operations, Chinese have been setting them up since about 2014. They've been buying Joe, which is why they got him to be so compliant when he was negotiating for us and trying to get them to remove from the islands that they contest with Japan. He failed completely. Failed completely. But the son came back with $1 billion pledge to his totally ridiculous little private equity fund.
Well, Mr. Mayor, again,
right.
thank you.
Thank
I'm going
you.
to keep hammering you. We want those files because,
Okay.
again, it'll
in due
prove it.
time.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we'll have to do this again. And to everyone at home, click subscribe if you like this interview with Mayor Giuliani. Hit the bell. They'll all get pushed to your phone. I'm Christian Daytalk. We'll see you guys next time.
So, and again, the full interview is even more powerful than that. But the little guy is so snot-nosed with Giuliani. I mean, it's not confirmed this is a real laptop. It's all there. They already gave it to the New York Post. They're scared to put it out. And we're going to play, going out to break, the Chinese dissident group that reported on this 3 weeks ago, confirmed it, that we know is working with Giuliani, laying out some of what's happening. This is in Chinese, so I'm going to read over the subtitles. Go ahead.
虐童视频，一家一家的啊。
One by one.
Hunter Biden
Hunter Biden.
这个就是黄色的啊。
Extremely disturbing and
极黄
obscene.
的啊可以说是啊，虐童的。
Pedophile extreme. He goes on real torture, is the real
让人
quote.
看到完全
Not
就把
treating the
中国
Chinese as
当
human
成
beings.
这个啊，就说白了，之前
Frankly speaking, they've signed a deal with Democrats, right?
然后呢，这边
They're here. The message from the CPP is that
就是说啊，你看你别
don't
以为
ever
我们
think
没
I don't
你
have your secrets in possession.
必须得赢，
First of all, you must win this election. You must do whatever it is it takes to win this election.
否则的话啊
Otherwise, you will be in trouble.
第二就是
Secondly,
赢
once you
了
win,
以后你还得听
you still have to follow CPP's order. The plan is to control
不仅仅
not only the 1.4 billion Chinese people,
是要把14亿人啊，把联合国
also the
真
United
的是要
Nations
把美
and
国
the United
彻底
States,
美国的总统啊
US president
未来的
any future
每
presidents.
个总统，未来多少年
From now to many, many years
多少
after.
任总统都是他们的，都
All
是
shall be
他们
under
说了
CPP
算
control. Now, you have to understand, I talked to Chinese Americans, and they actually looked at it. It's worse. He doesn't just say extreme pedophilia, extreme torture of little children by Hunter Biden. That's what he's saying, and that's the guy that's working with Giuliani. And then we have all the other admissions, the New York Post saying we can't publish this, it's pedophilia, and the FBI was investigating it as pedophilia. That's who these people are. Humanity is on the march. Corruption is on the run. I'm very honored to be your host, Alex Jones. And this is not going to be a 2-hour show tonight. I'm going to co-host with Owen Schroyer. Coming up, 6 p.m. in about an hour and a half. And we've got a bunch of breaking news we're going to cover then. And remember, this is not a spectator sport. This is a participation sport. So tell folks about those local radio stations. Tell folks about those local TV stations. And share those links from band.video, 2020electioncenter.com, infowars.com/show, and more. Okay, if you just joined us, and on my Monday show, I'm going to open the phones up and just take call. In fact, we'll probably do it. We'll also take calls for at least an hour during Owen at 6 p.m. with what we call Sunday Live now that we're doing. But we're live right now at 4:34 Central Time. And again, we're usually so far ahead of the curve that a lot of times when it catches up, we're behind it. It's how this works. So the Burisma emails and the laptop stuff starts coming out on Tuesday. And I'm like, this is smoking gun. I mean, this is Hunter Biden with Burisma executives saying, yeah, I'll meet with my dad. He's going to stop the criminal investigations into you. They're like, well, that's why we're paying you this money is to stop the criminal investigations. Then Biden says, I ordered them to stop the criminal investigation or I'd take $1 billion away. I mean, I've never seen a textbook case of someone publicly admitting a crime of this nature this way. I mean, this is textbook stuff. This is just ridiculous. This is crazy. But if you study criminology, criminals that have gotten away with it for a long time, especially psychopaths, at first, serial killers are very careful how they kill people, take their time. But by the end, they're like killing somebody once a week, not once a year. They're being real reckless. They're getting drunk. They're taking drugs. They're killing one woman a night and killing another lady the next day. And they finally get caught because they get reckless. And that's what we're seeing is this psychopathic behavior and the sociopathy play out in front of everyone. And so it seems otherworldly. You're like, is this possible? Well, of course it is. Look at Hitler, look at Stalin, look at Mao, look at Genghis Khan, look at any of these crazy people that get in power, and then they just keep doing crazy stuff till somebody stops them. These guys don't know when to stop. And so if you just tuned in, it's been announced they've canceled, because they had multiple events every day. They've canceled the events this week. Tonight, tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday, until there's a debate scheduled, the final debate between Trump and Joe Biden. And there is a laptop confirmed now with Joe Biden's lawyers that they were involved with, where he just didn't care and just dumped a laptop off, where the Chinese had given him all the blackmail they had on him. He didn't even care because he knew that was part of being in the club. Just a maniac, crazy person taking photos of himself in blue jean jackets like he's Tom Cruise and wearing sunglasses like his dad inside a house like he's a 12-year-old posing. I mean, these are crazy people. But we've let them run our lives. So I thought, oh, that's huge news. It confirms China. Email's paying him off. He says, give me more money. I want more money to do this. You'll get this if you do that. It's open and shut. And then you've got the huge scandal of the big tech media blocking all this because they've got to. But then it comes out, oh, it's raping little girls and beating the hell out of them. And that's what groups that broke this 3 weeks before it came out said. And then groups working with Giuliani, and the New York Post sees the photos and the videos and says, we cannot publish this. This is criminal. What do you do when you're a spoiled brat that doesn't care and has billions of stolen dollars and is crazy? And the communist Chinese are going to give you hundreds of millions more. You just got to go in a room and rape little girls. Well, hell, you go ahead and just beat the hell out of them. And that's who they are. They're raping us with the lockdown. They're raping us with the mask. They're raping us with shutting the VA off so the troops don't get any medical care. It's all about raping you. And now Bill Gates wants to rape you with his forced inoculation because these are rapists. And Bill Gates is involved with Jeffrey Epstein. And Bill Gates is involved in blackmailing thousands of prominent scientists they ran through there. And again, OAN has seen the same stuff that our sources have, and they say it's underage girls, power deals, drugs. But it's worse than that, because the dissidents that first said it was coming out that we know work with Giuliani say it has him on there, not just raping, but beating the hell out of them. So the big question is, how is the media going to try to cover this up, the establishment, lapdog, PR media? I was thinking today, what's the best term? Dinosaur media, Decepticon media, establishment media? No. They're just PR firms that'll do whatever they're told by those that pay them. That's what mainstream media is. How are they going to cover this up when Joe Biden's on tape saying China is not our enemy? China should run America. And Pelosi saying China would prefer Joe Biden. And the Washington Post and New York Times, oh, China should stop Trump. China's our friend. Trump's our enemy. I mean, these people are openly proud of their treason. They celebrate it. But I'm going to tell you next segment. I mentioned it the first of the show, but a lot of people just joined us. I'm going to read quotes from the FBI files about somebody. And I'm going to ask you to ask yourself, what time did this happen? When did this happen historically? And who is this man? It's a man who I was I was honored to know him back then. But now I just couldn't believe I was with like this super patriot way ahead of his time. People think I'm ahead of my time. No, this guy was ahead of his time. And you read the reports he put out. And they've still got most of his reports classified. A year ago, they released some of his reports on Twitter. And every damn bit of it was accurate. Like, let's come in with the renegades. Next segment. Thank God for the renegades, far ahead of their time. But let's look at these articles again. Breaking. Email from Hunter Biden's lawyer to computer shop owner reveals and confirms that it's a real laptop. And then it goes through it. New York Post says we can't publish it. It's pedophilia. Chi-Com dissident predicts Hunter Biden laptop leak September video. Go watch the full video and read the subtitles for yourself. We had Chinese speakers check it, and they said it's even worse than they're saying. It's not extreme pedophilia. It's extreme torture of children and rape by Hunter Biden, by groups that predicted this was coming out weeks before it did. Senators confirming it, all of it coming out. What are they going to do? How are they going to strike back with the, quote, sex tapes the media is spinning it? It's not sex tapes, it's rape tapes. And folks ask, why hasn't this all come out more? Because the whole corporate media are PR stunts, and they've all now signed on to this, taking the money, and now they all just want more of the money. And so they're not actually torturing little girls. They're not raping little girls. No. They're not stealing their essence themselves. They're taking money from those that did it, becoming even lower than those that are so soulless, so selfish, so sick that they're proud of what they've done. Because if the Bidens can get away with this, they can get away with anything. And think how the communist Chinese own them. Think of what they're demanding from them. Look at this. Burisma advisor told Hunter Biden his ultimate purpose was to close down investigations. I mean, this is the most open and shut paper play bribery I've ever seen. And they confirm it's real now. Wow. And the whole, not a word from CNN, not a word from ABC. Remember the famous, was it ABC News host lady said, oh, we knew about the little kids, the sex slaves, Jeffrey Epstein's Island, but we were told to shut it down because it hurt the Clintons. And the woman says, I'm just mad because I'd be famous if I broke it. She wasn't worried about the kids because if she was worried, she'd have broken it anyways. She was worried that she didn't get to break it. Talk about a soulless whore. We'll be right back. Cross.
The cross
was a solution. Welcome back. I'm your host, Alex Jones. Mike Adams of Natural News, who's done his own research, and his wife's Taiwanese, and watched the different videos and confirmed our sources saying that they even said more, not just rape of children, but torture of children by Hunter Biden. He's going to be joining us. Then I'm going to co-host with Owen Schroyer on the News Sunday Live, 6 to 8 p.m. coming up this evening. And remember, this is not a spectator sport. Your word of mouth isn't just important. It's King Daddy. And you've recognized how big all this news is. Breaking Hunter Biden's laptop, confirmed by his lawyers to be accurate, to be real, being blackmailed by the communist Chinese, by the Ukrainians, his father admitting it in public, I guess to hide it in plain view because he was worried about it. The reports of sex, rape, torture of underage children. Raping them itself is a form of torture, but actually beating the living hell out of them, doing other unspeakable things, quote, not treating them like human beings, that's all coming up. But I was thinking about this morning, very early this morning, like 6 a.m. drinking coffee. I was thinking about an old friend of mine who probably was on the show 60, 70 times, with John DeCamp, who was another great patriot, God rest his soul, and just all these other people. And I didn't take them for granted, having General Benton Parton and all these legends on. But I mean, now in hindsight, man, these guys were amazing. I mean, it's one thing to know this stuff in 2020, but it was, imagine being Ted Gunderson, groomed to run the FBI, ran secret operations for the FBI, all their most secretive stuff for J. Edgar Hoover, groomed to be the head guy. And then he's out running the LA sector and he finds out about devil worship and he gets shut down, not by Hoover, but by other groups. He retires so he can go after it. And the rest is history. Now, you read what Gunderson said in the 80s when he retired. And it's just reads like he had a time machine. So I was reading this on Wikipedia, but I thought, well, let me click the source. So I clicked it. It's the FBI website. So let's go ahead and read it. Ted Gunderson, born 1928, Colorado Springs, Colorado, died July 31st, 2011. I had him on like 2 weeks before he died. Totally in good spirits, thanking me, thanking everybody, apologizing to black people for running COINTELPRO against Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and others. I'm like, why are you doing this? Well, I feel bad about it. I meant well when I did it, but it was bad. Well, he was about to die. So we ought to find that interview from 2011, right before he died. He did like his last interview here from a hospital bed. It's like beeping going on, everything else. And died of cancer. I don't go over his whole early life, the whole 9 yards, but he, ran the Dallas sector and the LA and Memphis and a bunch of other important areas of the FBI, saw everything. And then it gets into Gunderson, now listen to this, it's from his own FBI file, warned about the proliferation of the secret occultist groups and the danger posed with the New World Order, an alleged shadow government that would be controlling the United States government. He also claimed that a slave auction, and he's using these terms, shadow government, all this, okay? A slave auction in which children were sold by Saudi Arabian agents. Turns out Clinton would fly to this private island in the Mediterranean and actually do this. 2 men have been held in Vegas. Let me start over. Gunderson warned about the proliferation of secret occultists from his FBI file groups and the danger posed by the New World Order, an alleged shadow government that would be controlling the United States government. He also claimed a slave auction in which children were sold by Saudi Arabian agents to men had been held in Las Vegas, and that 4,000 ritual human sacrifices are performed in New York City every year alone. Well, he didn't just say all this, he released it. They just brought out the Finders file run by the CIA last year, his files, all of it turned out to be accurate. Snuff films, you name it. I mean, God help us. And that he also wanted to say the 95 Oklahoma City building bombing was carried out by the U.S. government. He actually said the Clintons. Gunderson knew that the United States, there is a secret, widespread network of groups who kidnap children and infants and subject them to ritual abuse and subsequent human sacrifice in many cases. In Labella versus FBI, Gunderson submitted an affidavit stating, among other things, that thousands of victims have been targeted by an illegal government rogue criminal enterprise that has acted 24 hours a day within the U.S., whose administration can instantly initiate surveillance, phone taps, and harassment against any individual in the country. And the affidavit is used by some individuals, and it goes on. And of course, I've been through this. I've dealt with it. This is real. But it just goes on from there. But they didn't just do that. Notice that's the FBI website. They exposed the Franklin cover-up and got a bunch of people busted in the RNC running kids. They exposed the Finders and got that shut down in D.C. And Gunderson would race all around the country where, like cops in Florida, state police pull over a van that was driving suspiciously. And there's like 6 kids in the back, ages 3 to 9, scantily clad. There's semen stains all over the mattress. The kids are begging for mommy. They take them in. They find a card to Finders. The police raid the facility at CIA. They've got uplinks, thousands of snuff films. I mean, all this even came out in the Washington Times, but no one got in trouble. And it was Ted Gunderson, who then, I didn't tell you this part, they tested his blood, they put the test out. They hit him with enough arsenic to kill 3 or 4 horses, is what the doctor said. His fingers all turned black, his toes, till the tips of his toes fell off. And he still lived a couple of years after that. And they released the medical reports where they went in. He had, again, enough arsenic to kill 3 or 4 horses, is what they said. So, folks, think about that. Think about the media and all these cowards that have been covering this up forever that think it's cute. What do you think the Manson murders were? He knew that was a satanic murder cult killing a pregnant woman. There was another murder cult, which he first exposed, that he knew about as the director of the FBI in Southern California. And then he went and investigated it and discovered that sure as hell, this is what they were doing. They would go in and say that some husband, had murdered his wife, but they'd get there, there'd be blood, pentagrams, babies hanging by their umbilical cords. And they're like, what? They kept running into it. And Ted Gunderson grew up in Colorado. He was a cowboy. He didn't know any of this stuff. But he ran face forward into it and didn't ignore it like most cowards do or join it. He took it on. And man, he discovered devil-worshiping bases at Fort Hood. He discovered child kidnapping rings. He discovered child trafficking. He discovered the whole thing. And so you read that and you think about what he said and now how it's all come true. Terms he used, shadow government, using rings of kidnapped children to compromise politicians, scientists, bankers, and other academics. You got to go watch. You know, they've taken down videos he had with 3-4 million views. You can barely even find his stuff. I was trying to find it on YouTube. It's all been taken down. Or like this person put it up. It's got 100 views here, 500 there. I'm going to find his speeches, and we're going to put them at band.video. But he laid it all out, folks, and now we know he was accurate. But the question is, what is the deep state that set up communist China and used it as a blackmail system to corrupt the U.S. for plausible deniability? Because it's deeper than China. What are they going to do now that the wheels are off and that it's coming out that Hunter did all this, and as the bag man for the family knew he was going in to rape little girls on video? I mean, they know when they go to Epstein Island. They know when they do that. Bill Gates was paying Epstein. It's come out to corrupt hundreds of top scientists so Bill Gates can run all the hospitals, all the big science centers, all the vaccine companies. You wonder, like, why does Bill Gates go on TV and say he runs the world medicine? Because they set up the same stuff with them. It's all come out. This is about power. And they tell these rich scientists, hey, we'll give you $50 million. You just got to have sex with a 12-year-old girl. And that's what they do, folks. And that's how they control everybody. They think it's cute. There it is. Bill Gates met with Jeffrey Epstein many times, despite the fact that it all came out what he was doing. He lived at his house. He stayed with him. He did it all because it was a blackmail ring. Zorro Ranch, all of it. They're not just getting mothers to have surrogate babies to be, you know, an army of Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Gates babies. You know what they're doing to those babies, right? You know what Gunderson said is they'd have brood mothers at ranches in New Mexico. He even said New Mexico and California, where they would breed women with children for sacrifice. I mean, wow. But it's so evil, we can't deal with it. Hour number 2 coming up. All right, we're in hour number 2 of this live Sunday transmission. Coming up, this is just now breaking Daily Mail. More trouble for Joe Biden as Ukrainian lawmaker claims second laptop belonging to Hunter's business contacts in the country has been seized by law enforcement. Because Hunter, again, was absolutely out of control. So much is breaking right now. We're going to talk with Mike Adams about where all this is going and the rest of the story in a moment. But the 26-minute interview with Daily Caller, the host does a terrible job. Interrupts him, tries to act like Giuliani's the bad guy. This is all on record, but Giuliani still kicked ass. Here's a few minutes of that. We're going to come back and go to Mike Adams.
Told the FBI agent he was afraid. He was afraid of consequences from
So
the
he
Bidens.
didn't, this man, he didn't give you guys the copy of the hard drive and pass over the actual hard drive to the FBI?
No, he gave it to the FBI first.
Okay.
And he waited 4 or 5 months.
Why do you think he held on to it?
Well, he held on to 4. He held on to 4 copies of it. He gave 2 to friends of his in case he was killed. And he was, don't laugh. People
Serious, yeah.
The presidency is at stake here, and we have some very dangerous people involved.
Fair. Welcome back, Daily Caller. I am senior White House correspondent Christian Daytalk. I'm sitting down today with none other than Mayor Rudy Giuliani, President Trump's personal attorney. We're going to be talking about all of the Hunter Biden news that's come out over the past few days. Mr. Mayor, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Christian.
Before we begin, I want to remind everyone at home to click subscribe, click the bell. That way these interviews will get pushed right to your phone as soon as they get published. So let's take a step back because there's been new allegations. Obviously, there's these piecemeal stories coming out, but I think maybe even a bigger story is the reaction that Twitter and Facebook took. Did you expect outright censorship when these stories were being worked on by you guys?
I didn't think about it. I probably would have expected it if I thought about it. Or maybe I would have thought it was too dangerous a move for them to do it, because I think they've basically turned the entire Republican Party against them. And probably a lot of moderates. I mean, this is a very, very unusual level of censorship. This is the kind of thing that used to happen in the Soviet Union, in Nazi Germany, in Cuba. I mean, this is yes, they're not government, but they act like a government. They have that kind of control. They have control of a public facility, a very public facility. And they're no longer acting as neutral, just
they call themselves
bulletin board,
technocrats,
which is what got them their exemption from Section 230. they are now making editorial choices. The minute they do that, they become publishers and they're subject to regulation like everyone else. And they're subject to lawsuit. And I think there should be a lawsuit against them. I think there should be a major lawsuit against them. This was an extraordinarily important article in a major American newspaper. You can agree with it or disagree with it, but there certainly was a right for people to know about this and make their own evaluation of it. But it reminds me of Joe Biden, who says we don't deserve to know. I mean, where in America could a public official or a news outlet determine that the American public doesn't have the right to know? I mean, that's a concept that's alien to America, to Americans. That's a concept that comes out of a totalitarian government. And I guess these people have become so wealthy, they think they're dictators because they're acting like dictators. Mm-hmm. And this has to be stopped for the good of this country. I mean, free speech is an enormously important part of who we are. And this was yesterday was a terrible day for free speech in America, one of the worst.
I agree with you. I think the American people do deserve to know, and that was sort of one of the reasons Twitter's claimed they had the authority to censor this is because of your proximity to the president. Obviously, you're a supporter of his re-election campaign. And they were curious how...
this is from 2 days ago. It's now confirmed. The lawyer, it's all been released. This is a real laptop. It's real stuff. And it's worse than even the translations are saying. And so we're going to break it all down with Mike Adams on the other side. And then we've got Owen Schroyer coming in for the new show we're doing Sunday Live, 6 to 8 p.m. I'll be co-hosting with Owen and so much more. But, I mean, this is as big or bigger than anything. It's actually way bigger than we broke 2016 ahead of the last election. I mean, this is so dangerous. This is so caustic. This is so documented. This is so crazy. You better believe Biden's in hiding now. The wheels have come off. How are they going to counterstrike? They might take the power grid out or something. I mean, there's no telling what they're going to do. Welcome back. Alex Jones here with...
Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live, broadcasting worldwide. Thank you so much for joining us on this live Sunday edition, October 18th. The year is 2020, 15 days out from the election. So, I'm up here at 11 a.m. yesterday doing research, about to shoot a special report, and I'm looking at the New York Post saying, okay, we can't release these Hunter Biden videos and photos. It's child porn. It's vicious. It's illegal. And then Giuliani comes out and says that. And we learned the FBI had this 6-7 months ago. And then we see the Chinese dissidents that are well-known former members of the Communist Party China coming out saying, we've seen the footage. And they said it 3 weeks ago before it broke. And that it is just Hunter doing terrible, terrible things, not just raping children, but worse if that's possible. There's the headline, Trump set to release proof of Hunter Biden raping and torturing children and Chi-Com blackmail scheme. For folks that don't get it, this is what these groups make you do as a gang initiation. This is pretty mainstream now. Folks know about this. It's come out. But to talk about where it's going, what's coming next, what's going to unfold, what's really on the video, how we think the deep state's going to respond now that Biden has announced he's going into hiding, may not even go to the debate now. I mean, I don't see how they recover from this, because they for 4 days, they didn't deny it was there. They ignored it. Now they confirm, his lawyer, the emails are public, that indeed this laptop did fall into the FBI's hands. They did nothing. It was given to Giuliani. Mike Adams of naturalnews.com. Your wife's a great lady. I met her, hung out with you guys. She's Taiwanese, but speaks fluent Chinese. Right as I was talking to sources saying, this video is even worse. The transcriptions just says extreme pedophilia. No, it's extreme abuse, extreme torture. I'd already been told that by my sources in New York. You literally called me and said, hey, have you seen this video? My wife says it's worse than they're saying. Where do you want to start? There's so many facets here to cover, and great to have you with us.
Is truly amazing in this. You and I were looking at the same video on the same day, just from different sources. My wife was listening to it and watching the English translation. The Chinese that was being spoken by the host there, who's a whistleblower from mainland China, the Chinese was way worse than what the English translation was saying. And that's when I texted you. I said, Alex, you got to see this, because the words that they were really using to describe what's on these so-called sex tape videos are way worse. The words were 虐童视频, which means abuse of children. It implies rape and violence. It implies assault. This is the kind of term that you don't use just to describe pedophilia or pornography. These are violent assaults. And then if you look at what Rudy Giuliani has said about this, where he says he can't even describe what he has seen that's on here. And then you look at these other media outlets that say we can't even release this, probably without violating, laws against child pornography, but maybe laws against, some snuff tapes or something in that category. It's sick, twisted stuff, but it's coming out, Alex. It's all coming out over the next few days. Steve Bannon is behind the rollout now. Rudy Giuliani is on top of this. Good people who love America are rolling this out. And I'm here to say, Alex, Joe Biden is finished, because the censorship they don't have total control. They've tried everything. And I'll tell you what I think they're going to do next, but they failed, because you're still on the air. I'm still on the air. Independent media is exploding. Alternative platforms are exploding. Joe Biden is finished. I'm not even sure he will go to this next debate, but he's finished, and he's going to be lucky to stay out of prison when this is all said and done. It's going to take time under the second Trump administration, second term, but Hunter Biden and Joe Biden will be lucky to stay out of prison. That's where I think.
Well, listen,
right
I supported Steve Bannon early on. I liked him throughout. I know he got into fights with Trump. I know he's been working with Chinese dissidents, but we've confirmed, as they're saying, these photos are real, of the Chinese dissident that exposed this over 3 weeks ago and said he's seen, the raping and the torturing. There he is with Giuliani. There he is with the Chinese virologist that exposes what was happening at Wuhan. So it looks like Rudolph Giuliani's been a very, very busy bee.
This is just the beginning of what's going to happen to the Democrat Party. Alex, I've been told from other sources, over the past few months, I've been doing so many interviews, and I've been talking to new people that I never talked to before, and building up a lot of new contacts over the time. And what I'm being told is that this is the beginning of the end of the Democrat Party, because it's going to unravel the pedophilia pattern that you have been accurately talking about. It is true that to get into the high power levels of the Democrat Party, you have to submit to being videotaped abusing underage children, because they don't even trust you in a position of power, whether it's a governor or sometimes mayors or sometimes top of the party. You're not even allowed to have that power, maybe even CEO of a tech company.
And it's a satanic communion. They want to cut you off from God. I get it at a temporal political level. They want you to show that you're compromising with them, but it really is spiritual. They want you to cut yourself off from God.
And I think, until the Epstein story broke, most Americans couldn't have believed what we are talking about right now. But the fact that the Epstein story broke, that opened people up to the reality that we're now facing. It's horrifying, it's sickening, but it is real, and it is an undercurrent behind the Democrat Party, the top Democrat fundraisers or funders, and the top corporations and political positions that represent Democrats. The Democrat Party is a party of violent rape of children, of child abuse, child trafficking, sex dungeons of children. This is what the top Democrats not only stand for, but this describes their daily activities. This is what they do. And it's not a coincidence that when this came out, Joe Biden retreated to his basement, because that's where he feels at home, probably.
Well, that's my next question. It's just like when Trump won and Roger Stone was here on election night, they're like, why are you so upset? And I'm like, they're going to counterstrike. Well, I feel like we're winning right now. I don't feel as bad as I did then. I'm glad Trump won, but I knew they were going to attack. But they're going to strike back, Mike.
They're going to strike back in huge ways, Alex. What I'm being told now is there are going to be attacks on our infrastructure like we've never seen. Cyber attacks. not necessarily EMP, but
Oh, it's
cyber
already
attacks.
happening. We're being hit at 50 times any previous level.
Yeah, and wait till they take down the power grid. And by the way, I interviewed J.R. Nyquist not too long ago, who talked about China pre-positioning military assets in the United States. And I've been told from another source that those include 60mm mortars and RPGs, not just the AK-47.
Well, you told me that 6 months ago and actually came out. They busted a bunch of people with those. But let's stop there. They run the blue cities. They run the blue states. They run the media. They own the debt. They own Hollywood. They got the Democratic Party, part of the Republicans. People ask, why would they make a run in America? Because there's globalists commanding them. And I'm not defending communist China, but I mean, they're really a client state doing this as a command base for the globalists in my research.
Yes, and then they have puppets like Governor Newsom in California, who has turned the Capitol building, I've been told, from two sources, one firsthand on site, who has seen this firsthand, that the underground parking structures underneath the east wing of the Capitol building in California is filled with firearms, ammunition, like hundreds of millions of rounds, and gold. And that California is planning a secession. They're planning to arm Black Lives Matter and Antifa through the power of the governor.
I'm going to stop you right there. You got to
California.
come back with this because you texted me and you called me about 4 months ago and you said they've got gold, they've got weapons, I've got the text messages. I'm talking to FBI, I'm talking to, I'm like, oh, I believe that. I've seen some of that in the news here and there. Going back to the 90s, they caught the Chinese shipping in containers of fully auto AK-47s and mortars. But then Podesta had a war game a month later that was in the New York Times about secession starting with California and a resistance. And then even, yeah, that's amazing, Mike. You were the first person to tell me about that.
They have a plan ready to arm the left-wing radicals with full automatic weapons. And remember that California has pushed very heavily to disarm patriots over the last several years.
Well, that's right. So Trump said if China wins, America's over, they'll run us. It's totally true. We don't understand we're under attack. The average American's still punch drunk. How do we get them out of their coma to realize this is a country fighting for its very life? Waging war on corruption. So, if you were wondering how the establishment, 4 days not responding to the emails of Hunter Biden, not responding to the reports of pedophilia and child rape and torture, how would they respond? Well, Fox News, this just broke 20 minutes ago. We'll play a clip next segment. FBI investigating whether Hunter's alleged emails were leaked to foreign intel ops. So it doesn't matter if Hillary's emails are real and she's doing corrupt illegal things. Oh, did the Russians get them? And so we're right back to the same place. That's their counter now. And that's what the Democrats are saying. That's what Schiff's saying. But, Mike, it was the FBI that got this from a Delaware Mac shop. And anybody that's ever taken their computer in, you sign a contract that if you don't pay or pick it up, they own your computer. And the guy calls up Biden and no one will call him. He gets scared. He gives it to the FBI. They do nothing. He gives it to Giuliani. But now Rudolph Giuliani's a Russian agent. Mike Adams of naturalnews.com. This was pretty predictable, wasn't it?
Well, absolutely. The FBI is a criminal enterprise, and it has been conspiring against the interests of the United States for a very long time under the Obama administration and under the command and control of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama during the Trump administration. The FBI under James Comey was, of course, plotting against President Trump, abusing the FISA warrant process. And now under Christopher Wray, the FBI has been covering up the child abuse, pedophilia, sex crimes of the son of the Democrat presidential candidate. There's no question. The FBI ran the kidnapping plot against Governor Whitmer in Michigan. The FBI, we reported on this.
Oh, I forgot that
ago.
broke. Yeah, you said that. I said that weeks ago. Update. Suspects say ringleader in plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer was an FBI informant and Antifa.
The FBI has been running more terror plots in the United States than any other organization, including radical Islamic terror groups. The FBI has done this for many years. It's documented by the New York Times and the Kansas City Star. The FBI will draw up the plans. They will write the narrative and the script. They'll put together the vans or the drones or whatever is needed. They'll target a bridge or a building or the Pentagon, and then they'll recruit people to fill the roles so they can then claim they've arrested somebody who was a terrorist. That's what the FBI does. They are the #1 terrorist organization in America under Christopher Wray. Now, it doesn't mean that every agent in the FBI, it doesn't mean they're all on board with that. There's a civil war inside the FBI, just like there is inside the State Department and the Pentagon. But President Trump has got to fire Christopher Wray right now, immediately, if he does not answer for why the FBI covered
7 months ago, he got the Hunter Biden laptop, and now they've been exposed sitting on it. They claim, oh, we're investigating if the Russians are the ones. Give me a break. I mean, it's on record. It was a Mac shop in Delaware that was like, went to the FBI, and they turned that into it's the Russians. Incredible.
Yeah, and I need to share this too about how people can share the photos and videos once they start to come out, because the FBI will try to stop that. The tech giants will try to stop that. They'll have operating system updates that maybe stop you from sharing them. Google Docs will look for these files. So there are some things that people can do. When you start to get a hold of these files as they come out, you can change the file names, you can change the metadata of the files, you can resize them to repixelate them so they don't have the same. I was about to say, you take another
screenshot of it or put a filter over it.
That's right. You can also add borders to it. And if you add certain types of borders, certain patterns, it really confuses the AI systems. For some of these images, you can flip them horizontally, for example, and you can add other areas. You can black out certain areas. You might have to add a mosaic.
You want to blur anything out that's pedophilia. I mean, what about the New York Post saying Friday, we can't put this out, it's pedophilia? I mean, that's so huge.
Well, but isn't it interesting? I mean, if someone were arrested by the FBI and charged with child porn for possessing these images, why isn't the president candidate's son arrested for creating them and possessing them? See, the FBI can't really arrest anybody for having these videos without admitting that they're illegal and that they came from Hunter Biden's laptop and hard drives. And by the way, it's not just one laptop. As you said earlier, it's 2 laptops, and there are 3 hard drives that came from China. That's what was being talked about on that video with the Chinese whistleblower. Those are 3 hard drives that are in addition to the laptop.
And again, obviously, this is good U.S. intelligence that has infiltrated the Communist Party China and is getting them to give us the material back. That's how we're getting a lot of this. But you're right, multiple laptops coming out. What do you think the Democrats are thinking and the deep state are thinking right now? Because once again, they're getting their ass kicked.
They're thinking that they're going to launch Operation Chaos. They're going to take down the power grid everywhere they can, close to the election or during the election or right after it. They are going to go all out and try to bring this country to its knees. Look for telecommunications outages. Look for power outages. Even there in Austin, in your studios, watch for power outages and telecom outages. There might be, Comcast that provides fiber optics. They might just cut everything off. I mean, Twitter did a test run of just shutting down a few days ago, just blocking everything out because
and we predicted that, but they said on election day they're going to shut all conservatives down. They've got our IP addresses. So this is the attempted globalist coup that's coming.
Yes, like Infowars.com will be blocked at the browser level, even at the operating system level. So will my website. We'll all be blocked at that level. And people had better understand they're going to have to find workarounds. They're going to have to.
They'd better sign up at Infowars.com/newsletter so that we can send emails.
Right.
But people cannot get how important, that's one of the last stands, is emails. Infowars.com/newsletter. How do folks get your newsletter? Because that's one way to bypass this, at least for now.
That's the same deal. But just remember, folks out there, if you're signing up for the Infowars newsletter, do not use Gmail and don't use Yahoo Mail, because both of those ISPs will block Infowars emails. Yes. So you got to use Proton Mail or some other service that's not going to censor that.
But let's bring that up. Isn't this a big wake-up call now that Congress and committees and the president are being censored? That's really finally woken them up, but that's only 15 days out. They were always planning to shut us down before then. So I just feel these lawyers in Congress, I think, have really gotten caught with their dumb pants down.
They went too far. They went past the tipping point, and now they've awakened the sleeping giant of the GOP, which until now has been saying, oh, the free market will sort this out. Nonsense. You and I argued this many months ago. The free market's not going to solve this.
Years ago.
You've got to stop. Yeah, years ago. You have to stop big tech with the force of government.
Because big tech's bigger than government. Notice Giuliani, all of them are saying that now. This is bigger than government. It spies more than government. It's above the law. Exactly. We need checks and balances. And they're signed on to foreign governments.
Exactly, and it's so simple. All Trump has to do is invoke the Insurrection Act and then order the California power companies to cut off the power supplies to all the tech giants because you can't provide electricity to foreign corrupted terrorist organizations, which is Google, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Block their electricity. You can't run servers without electricity.
But let's be clear. Sundar and Zuckerberg and all of them are blackmailed as well by these multinationals bigger than China. So how do we navigate that? Because you look, they're scared. They're not even doing this for power now. They're scared. They're blackmailed. Mike Adams, another segment coming up. Again, if you just joined us, it's all come out, ladies and gentlemen. Hunter Biden with the blackmail, laptops, him raping little girls, torturing them reportedly, and the campaign's now confirmed, okay, it is his laptop. I mean, what are they going to do? What are they going to do now? The cards the Chi-Coms had are in Trump's hands. They're going to strike back. Get ready.
I would stand in line for this.
Welcome back, my friends. Well, we knew that there'd be some incredible October surprises. We knew that things would get crazy. We knew that the thing that holds the globalists together is crimes they commit against children and others so that they're compromised and part of the club. And I'm your host, Alex Jones, here with you back live on this Sunday live transmission. Mike Adams, naturalnews.com, whose wife is Taiwanese, speaks Chinese, was able to see the video, add even more context to what's in it from the folks that predicted this would come out 3 weeks before it did. And now Biden lawyer confirming that, okay, it's a real laptop. I keep going back to this. How do they survive it? Well, we know now. Here's a clip from just 30 minutes ago, Fox News. Oh, the FBI is investigating if foreign groups got his material. Well, we know the FBI got it from the Delaware Mac shop. So now, oh, did foreign groups get this? So see, it changes the subject from what he's actually done. So what if he's raping kids? So what if he's a pedophile? To, oh, was a foreign group involved when it's the Democrats selling us out to foreign powers? This is next level, if it's even true. Here it is.
They won't let the fact that we caught him in a total corrupt deal, they won't let the news get out.
We know that this whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin. That's been clear for well over a year now, that they've been pushing this false narrative about the vice president and his son.
Those are two contrasting views of the Hunter Biden business saga. Now the FBI, we're told, has seized the laptop that is said to be central to it. It's an unverified New York Post story about Biden and his alleged business dealings overseas. The agency investigating whether or not the emails purportedly contained on that laptop could be linked to a foreign intelligence operation, specifically Russia. The owner of the shop in Delaware, where the computer was allegedly left for repairs, tells Fox News that he, quote, can't be 100% sure that it was Hunter Biden who did drop it off for repairs. John Bussey, associate editor of the Wall Street Journal and Fox News contributor, joins us now. So the president, as we heard, and his allies, they've been slamming Hunter and his father. The former vice president, though, calls this story, like we heard from Adam Schiff, quote, a
all right,
smear
folks, so we are back here breaking this down. This is on record. His lawyers come out now and said, and the emails have been released, that this was indeed Hunter's laptop. So now they just want to change the subject. Well, maybe it's not his, and, maybe it's the Russians again. No one is buying this, Mike.
That's right. This won't fly. It's the boy who cried wolf, or the boy who cried Russia too many times. In this case, they tried the Russia collusion hoax for the first 2 years of Trump's term, and then they tried the Russian conspiracy during impeachment, and that bombed as well. Now they're crying Russia yet again. Well, I don't think Russia made Hunter Biden smoke crack and abuse underage teens, reportedly, if that's indeed what's on the videos, and it appears it is so far from whistleblower accounts. I guess we'll see in a few days, but you got to understand the way this is being rolled out is to catch Joe Biden and Hunter Biden in lies. Steve Bannon explained this recently. Why aren't they rolling out everything all on one day? They're putting it out piecemeal so that the Biden team can respond and deny everything and then get caught in a lie.
That's what Giuliani said in the interview. He said, no, we're giving them a chance to lie. And that's why they're being so quiet, though, is they don't know what to do.
They are right now trying to paint a gray zone where they're not claiming that the emails and the hard drives are Hunter Biden's, but they're also not denying it. They're trying to just wait this thing out. And Joe Biden's refusing to answer any questions on this, just offering his usual, come on, man. No one's saying that, whatever he says, he's in a fairy tale land. But while the press is asking him about what flavor of ice cream he ordered instead of the Hunter Biden scandal. So this is coming out. Giuliani has got all the goods. Trump's people have got this nailed. And the Democrat Party is going down. I mean, that's the good news here. The Democrat Party will not survive this. Now, it may take many months or even years to play out in terms of the arrests that are coming. But the DNC, as we know it today, I predict, Alex, right here on your show, the DNC will not survive the next 2 years intact because of what's about to happen.
I agree with you. And now here's Fox News again. FBI investigation into Hunter Biden email story tied to Russia disinformation effort. So just like Hillary, it's real emails, it's crime she's committing, and they're going to say it's the Russians. When it's a Delaware shop, he has the contract, the lawyer confirms it, they brought it, the guy gives it to the FBI does nothing for 7 months, he gives it to Giuliani, and now instead of the pedophilia and child rape, it's, well, the Russians did it, so it's okay if Hunter's doing this and smoking crack. I mean, this is not going to work, brother. People already dealt with 3 years of this crap. This is not going to fly.
That's right. And could I mention that during this time, you have been attacked and smeared as I have, and it has made us tough. It has made us fighters. And it is so important, Alex, just on a personal note, that you take every step possible, and I know you are, to stay on the air and for your crew to stay on the air over the next 3-4 weeks, because they are going to try to take us down. They're going to DDoS our websites. They're going to attack us in every way possible. They're going to probably mess with the domain name system. They're going to do everything they can. It is crucial that InfoWars stay on the air. And for all of us who are patriot
and
fighters,
for listeners, while we're still on the air, to download the videos, to magnify them, to repeat it, to start their own. But look at that photo of Hunter Biden. If that guy wanted to babysit my children or sell me a car, I would run. He looks like a psychotic demon. Put the photo back up you guys were just showing. But the question is he really better than us? Is he stronger than us? Is he going to dominate us? Is he going to get control of us? Because it's just these people are all the same. I mean, this is a crackhead. This is a demon with billions of dollars that no one ever stood up to, that the FBI serves. It's got to come to an end, Mike Adams.
They are weak. They are pathetic. They are morally vacuous. They're spiritually bankrupt, and they can't fight. They don't know how to fight. That's the thing, you see. By censoring us all these years, they've made us tough. They've made us smart. They've made us resilient. They didn't think that you would still be in business or that I would all this time. They wouldn't think that we would be having such a record year in terms of audience. And
because all they do is cash commie checks all day. They can't even drop a laptop off and remember to get it. They're just totally
dysfunctional. They don't know how to build anything. All they do is destroy. They can't run a business. They can't run a country. They can't even allow a country to have entrepreneurs who
and they say Trump is inept when he came from nowhere and their whole system and beat them. Well, if he's so inept, how did this inept nobody beat them? Because he's not part of your system.
And he's going to beat them again. And the American people are rising up right now against the Democrats. They're walking away. They're tired of the violence. They're tired of the free speech people being attacked by violent left-wing lunatics.
That's my next question. What do they do when they lose in 15 days?
They go insane. They pull out all the weapons that they haven't been using so far. Notice they've been using frozen water bottles and socks with bricks in them. Now it's going to be AR-15s, folks. It's going to be full auto weapons and AK-47s provided by China. It's going to be mortars. It's going to be RPGs. It's going to be also, by the way, stolen military transport vehicles, armored personnel carriers that have disappeared from National Guard bases across the West Coast. That's coming too, Alex. That's coming too. So, folks, get out your 50 cal Barretts in defense of your nation. Don't initiate violence, but be prepared to defend your life, your family, your community, your local law enforcement, and your nation against these radical leftists. They are going to bring everything to bear against us.
By the way, that isn't hype. The globalists are making a real run in our country because they've never been held accountable. After we win this war, Mike, the globalists have to be brought to justice for what they've done as an example to others, or it just keeps making more of them try this.
yes, they will be defeated. They will be exposed. History will show what happened, but it's going to require this defensive action on the part of patriots to defend their president, defend our constitutional republic, defend the Electoral College, and defend your own neighbors and also the rule of law. I mean, Alex, I told you personally, I'll just share it here. One of the reasons I've been so busy the last few months, I've been doing night training, night vision, tactical engagement training. My primary rifle right now is a SCAR 17 308 medium range battle tactical rifle set up for night vision. And that's just my go-to rifle. I believe most of this is going to happen at night. And I believe that we have to be ready to engage in self-defense against these lunatics who are trying to bring down our country. They have the plans in place and the materiel in place. China has stashes of weapons and ammunition and explosives.
There's no doubt,
all
Mike.
across
I'm
the
glad
country.
you're back with us, naturalnews.com. Thank you so much. I got a final segment that Owen Schroyer takes over. Thank you, Mike. Wow, this is the times that try men's souls. This is the battle for the Republic. I'm Alex Jones. Tell everybody you know, tune in now. All right, I'm going to co-host with Owen Schroyer what we call Sunday Live. I've been doing my syndicated show for 24 years, been on air 26, almost 27, but for about 16 years, we've done Sunday shows, 4 to 6 p.m. I know you're tuned in. You know that. We appreciate you. Without you, there's nothing. No resistance, just the enemy having victory after victory against us. But we've upped the game here with weeknights, 7 to 9, election countdown. It'll be American countdown after the election if we're still here. And I don't say that to be dramatic. I mean, we may not be here. There's a good chance if the enemy wins, we will not be here. Which in a kind of a sick way, it's kind of like I've run the course, I've fought hard, and I'm not defeatist, I'm actually victorious. But if things go bad, and that's God's choice, we kind of deserve to be enslaved, don't we? But I smell victory. The enemy smells it as well. That's why they're so scared. They smell our victory. But we now do Sunday Live, 6 to 8 p.m., and there's only 6 minutes of ads an hour. That's the local ads. A lot of stations pick it up. But that way we got more time for calls, more time for news, more time for what's going on. But I'll just be honest with you, because it's all I can do. I don't even feel worthy to be in this position. I mean, I've been on air 26 years, and I used to only the last year have trouble like butterflies and anxiety, because it's not that I have anxiety being on air. It's that this time is so epic. Whew, getting chills right now. This is so big that I'm sitting there during the break looking at the news articles, and I'm like, man, you need to go to explain to these people how serious this is. And I'm like, well, I'm doing that. I'm talking to God, like I'm trying. I'm trying. And so you better get your ass together. You better warn them to take action. Well, then what is the action? Because it's one thing to just tell people what's going on, and you can check it out yourself, make your own decision. But, I mean, what do we do? I'm the same as you. You call me. What do we do? What do we do? Raise our kids good, be good, decent people. Now they're going to shut off our bank accounts and lock the cities down and say we're not essential and come force inoculate us. They knew we were making the right decision. They knew we were turning back to God. They knew we were awakening. And so they pulled their Antichrist, Mark of the Beast crap. And all I can say is don't get intimidated by it. Just get angry and say no to it. And I know that's been the solution, and it's also been the problem, because I've been mighty pissed, man. I mean, they got Muslims tearing down church crosses everywhere. I mean, just the evil's on the march, folks. It's running around with its tongue hanging out. The left is just absolutely out of control everywhere. They are conquering us right now because we have been asleep and because we have been passive. You know, I haven't even gotten into the COVID-19 news. Oh, it's incredible. You know, their whole lockdown system. But look, do an overhead shot of these faces. Look at how Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, they do these fake smiles all day. They laugh like everything's fine. It's all a big joke. You know, you look at the lady that did the debate against Trump, looking like a demon the whole time. I mean, these people are obviously demonically influenced. And so I just want to ask listeners, what is it you're going to do against this here in the home stretch? Because it's not that Trump's perfect or Trump's going to save the world. But obviously, The demonic forces of the New World Order. These soulless jerks want to completely take over society and completely take over civilization. And so all I can say is, now is the time to stop complying with them. Now is the time to stop bowing to them. Now is the time to stop going along with their political correctness and their mask wearing and their forced inoculations. Like, you go to any restaurant now, they want you to scan the QR code of the menu because they're getting you ready for contact tracing. If you're not a good globalist, you can't be in their restaurant if you haven't had inoculations. And I saw this a few months ago. I went and looked it up, and sure enough, big corporations in the UN are running that and saying that and getting you ready. You try to go to a major park in Austin, and they've got plastic up at the entrance saying you've got to sign a form to go out in this park. They're just training you that you live under martial law. It's authoritarian, it's sick. And yeah, they'll have some young park worker doing it. So you don't want to be mean to her, some 20-year-old girl or some, 20-year-old guy. But you need to be mean to them and the system itself, because compliance with this is destruction and enslavement. And I'll tell listeners again, it's not some pat on the head when I'm here on air and I tell you that when you spread the word about the show and you share the articles and the videos, it bypasses the enemy. Can we go to band.video? Can I show people something? Go to band.video. And right up at the top is the headline here. I'll show you on this. I've been trying. And we just go to band.video. You click right there. Confirmed. Trump has footage of Hunter Biden raping and torturing little girls. Click that for me. 1,162,000 views since yesterday afternoon we put it up. That's great. It needs 100 million views. And if you simply go to band.video and you simply share that URL on your text message, on your email, on your word of mouth, if you simply tell folks, hey, this is forbidden information, and here's the key. Watch it, check it out for yourself, and then share it. That's the last part. It's game over for these people. It's so simple, but I can't tell you how many emails I get, how many Twitter comments I see that people send me, where they're like, man, Alex Jones was right about all this. I wish he was still on air when we're on over 200 radio stations, over 100 TV and cable stations, and in many ways stronger than ever. But people that don't see us in their Facebook feed or their Twitter feed, they literally don't know we're on air. But you that are tuned in, you know that. You're like, well, that's incredibly simple. Of course, you got your own show. They don't think about URLs anymore. They don't think about radio stations or TV stations because in the last 20 years, TV stations were all like, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. So the radio station made it all about Twitter, all about Facebook, all about Google, until no one went to your radio station site. Your site didn't have your own apps, didn't have its own functions, didn't have its own social media network. You could have, me too, we could have all had our own thing. I figured this out 5 years ago, about 2 years before we got banned. And so we made the exodus over to Infowars.com, band.video, all the things we've got now, thanks to your support. But it took a lot of money to do it. But now if you're a member of Congress, now if you're the Senate, now if you're these committees trying to put out subpoenas to Joe Biden and his son, they won't even let the subpoenas go out because they said, we decide what you can see. It's a technocracy. It's a digital dictatorship. And it's un-American and it's dangerous. We're going to start the next 2 hours. I'll be here for a while with Owen Schroyer. He's coming in. We're going to recap, if you just tuned in, the big, huge breaking news of Hunter Biden and his laptop and his lawyers confirming it's real. And what are they going to do? And now Joe Biden in hiding. And Giuliani and them have the video, but the New York Post is scared to publish it because it's pedophilia. And I understand why they won't, but they've got to blur it out. But just tell everybody you know right now to tune in to Infowars.com/show and Newswars.com/show and to band.video. And then separately, go to Infowars store. Things are so crazy. Who knows, we'll be here in 3 months, 6 months. Get an Infowars t-shirt. Get a piece of history. All t-shirts are $17.76. Free shipping. It's got to end tomorrow, the sale. Rainforest Plus, the great nootropic, great, healthy way to get awake and focused. 50% off, free shipping. Ultimate Krill Oil, massively discounted. We're about to end the sale, free shipping. Kaba Chill, documented for such good focus clarity. 50% off plus free shipping. Super Male Vitality, the concentrated herbs for libido, stamina, you name it. 50% off, free shipping. Survival Shield X2 Nascent Iodine Spray, taken in the mouth and throat. The essential, 33% off, free shipping. Knockout, not just melatonin, not just L-tryptophan, but 6 other compounds known for deep, clean, great, restful sleep. 50% off plus free shipping. All SRL products that are from a special lab, 60% off, free shipping, and even more at InfoWarsStore.com. That sale ends tomorrow. And if you believe in what we're doing and want to experience the products we've got, reach out today, InfoWarsStore.com, and make your order. Everything we have is in stock. 1 day left on the sale, but a lot of stuff we're having to discontinue because the supply chain's broken down in this COVID martial law global depression. So get the products while you can, InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. But whatever you do, share that URL, InfoWars.com/show. That's it for the Alex Jones Show Sunday. Sunday Live with Owen Schroyer and yours truly coming up in just 2 minutes on this side of this break. Please stay with us. We're going to take calls and break everything down.
You have been charging for months that mail-in balloting is going to be a disaster. You say it's rigged, that it's going to lead to fraud.
This is going to be a fraud like you've never seen.
This is going to come down to a fight over how many people are awake and how many aren't. They're going to contest the election. They're going to say Trump lost. They're super pissed that I'm on air.
I want them shut down. I want them silenced. I want them muted. I think they are horrible for our society.
You kept us on air. We did the analysis first. It's now gone mainstream. We continue to be the epicenter. And what they've said directly to us is you continue to be the epicenter of our plans not going the way we want, and you need to stop right now. And they're very, very serious. Well, I'm not signing on with a bunch of devil-worshipping child molesters. This is not going to happen. So they are moving now to destroy me. I used to say support InfoWars, rescue InfoWars, save yourself, save the world. We're in this together. Because let me tell you something. Communism's up here. InfoWars is the dam blocking it, which is all of us together supporting. And you and I are all down here with our families. My children are right here. But I need money to fight a war. And I need word of mouth. And I need prayer. And I need action. Because that dam's going to come down. Trump's told you hell's coming.
Hey, you there. The battle for the Republic is on. The American Revolution 2.0 is happening right now. But the corrupt establishment doesn't want you to know, and they certainly don't want you to get involved. But you can at band.video. The truth lives at band.video. The information they don't want you to see is at band.video. This is your destiny. This is the epic battle for the future of humanity. America will survive as long as you fight. I've got to go.
And what makes you nauseated is it's not just the smell of piss. What we call the smell of bum piss. It has that sweet, nauseating smell. It's on the face. Well, it does. It's a sweet stench. Makes me want to throw up like rotten meat. It is the crap of dust mites.
Have you noticed the stench of bum piss in your leftist-run neighborhoods? The crap of dust mites in bum piss is a real thing, and InfoWars Store has the solution. InfoWars has created the most powerful herbal lung cleanse and respiratory support product on the market. With over 1,000 types of mold and mildew, toxic chemicals, and yes, dust mites. Our Lung Cleanse Plus, made with organic and wild cultivated herbs, is just what you need to survive the unprecedented surge of bum piss and other toxic substances in liberal leftist cities everywhere. Order the InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse Plus supplement today at InfoWarsStore.com.